In 1988, Michael Jackson broke every security protocol when he spotted a young girl in the front row and pulled her on stage in front of 72,000 screaming fans. What she said into his microphone wasn't a song or a scream, it was something that shattered the king of pop's composure and left him sobbing uncontrollably in front of the entire world. But what could a young girl possibly say that would break down the most guarded superstar on the planet? The roar hits you like a physical force. 72,000 voices screaming as one under the blazing lights of Wembley Stadium in London. It's July 16th, 1988, and the Bad World Tour has rolled into England like a hurricane of sequins and moonwalks. The stage stretches impossibly wide, a cathedral of chrome and neon that makes even the massive stadium feel intimate when Michael Jackson commands its center. He moves like liquid lightning, every step choreographed to perfection, every gesture executed with precision to send the crowd into hysteria. The opening notes of "The Way You Make Me Feel" pulse through the air, and the audience becomes a living organism, swaying and screaming in perfect synchronization. Michael's voice cuts through the chaos, smooth as silk and powerful as thunder, while his feet seem to defy gravity with each impossible dance move. But something shifts in the third verse. Michael's eyes, usually laser-focused on the choreography drilled into him through countless rehearsals, drift toward the front row. The security barriers strain against the surge of bodies, hands reaching desperately toward the stage, but one figure remains perfectly still. A young girl, maybe 8 years old, stands pressed against the metal barricade, with something unusual in her hands. Not the typical concert merchandise or frantic waving arms, but a carefully crafted, handmade sign that catches the stage lights. The song continues, but Michael's movements become less mechanical, more curious. His backup dancers maintain their positions, but they notice the subtle change in their leader's energy. Her quiet strength cuts through the manufactured spectacle like a whisper in a thunderstorm. She's not screaming or crying or begging for attention like the thousands surrounding her. Instead, she watches with an intensity that seems to see straight through the glittering costume and choreographed perfection to something deeper. Michael approaches the edge of the stage, his legendary showmanship giving way to genuine human curiosity. The security team tenses, sensing the deviation from protocol, but they know better than to interfere when the king of pop follows his instincts. The girl holds up her sign higher, and though the words are impossible to make out from the stage, her unwavering gaze and patient stillness speak louder than all the screaming around her. Time seems to slow as Michael makes a decision that will shatter every carefully laid plan his team has constructed. He signals to his security detail, pointing toward the girl with a determination that brooks no argument. The crowd senses something unprecedented is about to happen, and their screams reach a fever pitch. This isn't part of the show, isn't rehearsed or scripted or approved by the army of handlers who control every second of Michael Jackson's public existence. This is pure impulse, pure human connection, breaking through the barrier between superstar and audience. The girl looks up at him with eyes that seem to hold secrets, and Michael Jackson, master of the stage, finds himself about to step into completely uncharted territory. The moment hangs suspended between possibility and chaos, waiting for him to make the choice that will change everything. The months on the road have carved deep lines around Michael's eyes that no amount of stage makeup can fully conceal. Behind the glittering facade and the screaming crowds lies a man running on fumes, his body aching from the relentless demands of performing night after night across continents. The Bad World Tour has become a juggernaut that devours everything in its path, including the man at its center, who sometimes feels more like a prisoner than a performer. In the brief moments between songs, when the crowd's roar provides a wall of sound that shields him from the outside world, Michael's mind races with the crushing weight of expectations. Every gesture must be perfect, every note flawless, every interaction meticulously planned by the team of handlers who surround him like a human fortress. The spontaneous moments that once brought him joy have been systematically eliminated, replaced by calculated crowd pleasers and focus-grouped choreography that feels increasingly hollow with each repetition. The isolation of fame has created a barrier between Michael and the real world that grows thicker with each passing day. He remembers what it felt like to connect with people authentically, before every conversation became filtered through publicists and every smile calculated for maximum media impact. The child who once danced with pure joy in the family living room has been buried beneath layers of industry machinery and public expectation, leaving behind a man who sometimes struggles to remember who he really is beneath the sequins and spotlights. The girl in the front row represents something his controlled existence has almost forgotten: genuine human connection, untainted by contracts or publicity strategies. As he helps security lift her onto the stage, the handmade sign falls forgotten to the stadium floor as she steps into this moment that will change both their lives. He notices details that cut straight to his heart. Her clothes are clearly her best outfit, probably saved for months for this moment, but they're worn and carefully mended. Her shoes are too small, the kind of sacrifice parents make when concert tickets cost more than a month's groceries. But her eyes shine with a purity that makes Michael remember why he fell in love with performing in the first place. The microphone feels heavier in his hands as he kneels to her level, aware that the massive crowd is watching this unscripted moment unfold. His security team hovers nervously at the stage edges, knowing that every second of deviation from the planned show creates potential liability and chaos. The tour schedule is merciless, the expectations crushing, and any deviation from the precisely orchestrated routine sends ripples of anxiety through the entire organization that exists to manage and protect the Michael Jackson brand. But something in this young soul's calm demeanor steadies Michael's nerves, reminding him of the child he once was, standing on similar stages with his brothers before fame became a golden cage that separated him from the rest of humanity. The stadium holds its collective breath as Michael extends the microphone toward her, creating a moment of pure possibility that exists outside the manufactured world of celebrity and spectacle. For perhaps the first time in years, he's completely vulnerable, completely exposed, waiting for a child's words to fill the silence that suddenly feels infinite and pregnant with unknown possibilities. The microphone passes from Michael's gloved hand to small fingers that grip it with surprising steadiness. Thousands upon thousands lean forward in their seats, creating a silence so profound it feels like the entire world has paused to listen. The girl looks out at the sea of faces, then back up at Michael, and a connection passes between them that transcends the barriers of age, fame, and circumstance. When she speaks, her voice carries with a clarity that cuts through the stadium's acoustics like a blade through silk. The words aren't what anyone expects, not the typical fan declarations or nervous giggles that usually fill such moments. Instead, she delivers a message that lands like a physical blow to everyone within hearing distance, but especially to the man kneeling beside her. "My mummy cries every night when she thinks I'm sleeping," the girl begins, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. "She sits in our kitchen and plays your songs on the old radio, and sometimes she dances like she used to when I was little. Before the doctors told us I have to go to heaven soon." The stadium's silence deepens, if such a thing is possible, as her words register with the crowd. "But when she dances to your music," she smiles again. "Thank you for giving my mummy her smile back." The impact is immediate and devastating. Michael's carefully maintained composure, honed through decades of public appearances and media training, crumbles like ancient parchment exposed to flame. His shoulders begin to shake, and tears that he's held back through countless pressures and private agonies finally break free. The world's biggest star, the master of entertainment, who has commanded stages around the world, becomes simply a man overwhelmed by the profound weight of a child's gratitude. The crowd witnesses something unprecedented. Their idol stripped of all pretense, reduced to his most human elements, by 7 simple sentences from a girl who barely reaches his waist. Some fans begin crying themselves, infected by the raw emotion radiating from the stage. Others stand in stunned silence, processing the reality that their superhuman entertainer is, at his core, as vulnerable as anyone else when confronted with genuine human suffering and love. Michael's backup dancers remain frozen in their positions, unsure whether to continue the show or acknowledge that something far more important than entertainment is happening. The band members lower their instruments, recognizing that music has become secondary to the moment unfolding before them. Security guards who are trained to manage crowds and handle emergencies find themselves unprepared for the emotional earthquake that a child's honesty has triggered. The girl watches Michael's tears with the solemnity of someone far older than her years, as if she understands the gift she has given him, the gift of being seen, not as an icon or a commodity, but as a person capable of feeling the full weight of human connection. The stadium lights continue to blaze down on them, but the spectacle has transformed into something holy, something transcendent that touches the deeper chords of what it means to be alive and connected to one another. In the profound silence that follows her words, Michael Jackson undergoes a transformation that the sea of humanity will remember for the rest of their lives. The tears streaming down his face catch the blazing illumination like diamonds. But there's nothing performative about this moment. It's as raw and unguarded as anything he's ever experienced in public. He reaches up with trembling fingers and slowly removes the legendary sequined glove that has become as much a part of his identity as his voice or his dance moves. The glove represents everything he has become: the meticulously constructed image, the untouchable superstar, the king of pop who exists more as myth than man. But as he places it gently in the girl's small hands, he's offering her something far more valuable than a piece of costume jewelry. He's giving her a piece of himself, the part that remembers what it feels like to be human in a world that has tried to make him into something else entirely. Michael pulls the girl close, wrapping his arms around her in an embrace that transcends the boundaries between performer and audience, celebrity and fan, adult and child. His whispered words are meant for her alone, lost in the vastness of the stadium, but carrying the weight of a promise that will outlast any song he's ever recorded. The crowd watches in reverent silence, understanding instinctively that they're witnessing something profound, something that belongs to a realm far beyond entertainment or spectacle. As he helps her down from the stage, his movements are gentle and deliberate, treating her like the precious gift she has revealed herself to be. The security team, trained to maintain distance between the star and his public, steps back to allow this moment of pure human connection to unfold without interference. The girl clutches the glove against her chest as she's escorted back to her place in the crowd, and the stadium erupts in applause that carries a different quality than the screaming adoration that usually fills such venues. This applause is deeper, more reverent, acknowledging not just a great performance, but a moment of genuine grace. Michael returns to center stage, but he's changed by what has just occurred. His movements carry a different energy, less mechanical and more alive, as if the girl's words have awakened emotions in him that the machinery of fame had buried. The show continues, but everyone present knows they've witnessed a moment beyond ordinary experience, a reminder that beneath all the glitter and choreography, music's true power lies in its ability to connect human hearts across any distance. Years later, when people speak of this night, they won't talk about the perfect dance moves or the flawless vocals. They'll remember the moment when the most famous man in the world became simply a person, moved to tears by a child's love for her mother and gratitude for the comfort that music can provide in the darkest times. In a career filled with record-breaking achievements and legendary performances, this unscripted moment of vulnerability and connection becomes the most powerful testament to who Michael Jackson truly was beneath the crown of music's greatest icon.